Francis Bacon's 3 studies for figures at the base of the crucifixion changed the art world forever. It was first exhibited in April 1945, during the final months of the Second World War. This exhibition coincided with the release of the first photographs and film footage of Nazi concentration camps. Bacon's paintings reflected a pessimistic and changed world brought about by the Holocaust and the development of nuclear weapons. It is regarded as Bacon's first masterpiece. The painting depicts 3 anthropomorphic creatures set against a flat orange background. The creatures are anatomically and physically distorted, and the mood is violent, foreboding, and inescapably physical. Bacon later related these creatures to Eumenides, who is the goddess of vengeance from Greek mythology. The title of the work refers to figures at the foot of the cross in the Christian painting of the death of Jesus. Bacon completed the work within 2 weeks. It was considered his first mature piece. He regarded his previous works before this as irrelevant and tried to suppress their appearance in the art market. Both the public and critics were unnerved by the unveiling of this painting in 1945. The art critic John Russell said, "The images were so unrelievedly awful that the mind shut with a snap at the sight of them." And the critic Herbert First recalled, "I must confess, I was so shocked and disturbed by the surrealism of Francis Bacon that I was glad to escape from this exhibition. Perhaps it was the red background that made me think of entrails, of an anatomy or a vivisection, and feel squeamish." I saw these paintings a few months ago, at the Tate Britain. The triptych was haunting. I was scared to look, but also scared to look away. The paintings gave the small octagonal room they hung in a feeling of inescapability. All the other pieces in the room became irrelevant as I sat on the bench and stared at Bacon's work. Since then, Bacon has quickly become one of my favourite painters. Francis Bacon was born in Dublin to an English family in 1909. Bacon was thrown out of the house by his authoritarian father in 1926 because his parents did not accept his sexuality. The final straw for the couple is when they caught Bacon wearing his mother's clothes. After this, Bacon travelled to Berlin, where he enjoyed the city's gay nightlife and intellectual circles. He then went to Paris, where he became further interested in art through visiting galleries, and was particularly inspired by Picasso's surrealism. Bacon returned to London late in the 1920s, where he became an interior decorator and worked on his art in his own time, developing his own grotesque style of surrealism. In 1948, Bacon's first professional solo show opened, which featured another one of his masterpieces, Head VI. This marked the beginning of a series of works inspired by Spanish painter Velázquez, who painted in the 1600s. Francis Bacon turned Velázquez's painting, which had been considered the finest portrait ever created, from this to this. The piece has a forcefully violent mood. Bacon applies forceful, expressive brushstrokes and places the figure within a glass cage structure, behind curtain-like drapery. This gives the effect of a man trapped and suffocated by his surroundings, screaming into an airless void. This was the first painting inspired by Velázquez, and the first in Bacon's series of screaming popes. My other favourites from this series are Study After Velázquez and Study After Velázquez's portrait of Pope Innocent X. These pieces once again feature Bacon's trademark of violent strokes and haunting mood that appear in so many of his paintings. There's a juxtaposition between the religious subject and the way that that subject is presented by Bacon. Bacon takes the divine figure of the Pope and shows him to be choking and screaming in a glass cage. It's obvious to see why Bacon's work was so shocking when it was first unveiled. It is this disturbing nature of Bacon's paintings which makes me so fascinated by his work, and what makes him so special in my opinion. After the suicide of Bacon's lover George Dyer, his paintings became more sombre and inward-looking, as they looked and focused on the passage of time and death. During this period, Bacon produced pieces that would have been considered as true art by the philosopher Tolstoy, who I have previously mentioned in other videos. Bacon meets the sincerity condition and the infection condition, which Tolstoy said was needed for something to be defined as true art. Bacon's emotion he puts into the art is sincere and genuine, as he deals with feelings of grief and betrayal. Admirers of the painting are also left with the same melancholic feelings of despair. This means that Bacon meets both conditions set out by Tolstoy. Bacon admitted to his friends that he never fully recovered from the death of his lover, describing the 1973 triptych as an exorcism of his feelings of loss and guilt. The 1973 triptych is distinctly different from his first triptych, 3 Studies for Figures at the Base of the Crucifixion. The 1973 piece is far more static, which makes it extremely tense and tragic. The mood is mournful and full of sorrow, rather than the violent and angry tone seen in the earlier 1945 piece. I think this shows the diverse of Bacon, as the 2 triptychs are similar in appearance, as one would know they are both a Bacon piece, but they're also worlds apart in terms of mood, as one is violent and the other is mournful. Overall, Francis Bacon is one of the most influential artists of the 20th century, as he portrayed a world changed by the Second World War. Bacon is one of my favourite painters, as his violent strokes and vivid use of colour bring his paintings to life. I am often left staring deeply into them, unable to look away. Bacon took his troubled life and made it into beautiful art, as so many artists have done and will carry on to do so, as he captured his grief and anger in paintings representing events in his personal life. For me, Francis Bacon will always be known for his 3 Studies for Figures at the Base of the Crucifixion, as it so perfectly captures the way the world is. After the Second World War, people finally understood what horror was, and they began to realise just how dark their world was. This piece is still relevant today, as the world is bleak and disturbing, much like the world Bacon was depicting in 1945. Little has changed. 3 Studies for Figures at the Base of the Crucifixion truly is a chilling piece.